Hi, student A. First off, excellent job overall with this assignment. I was really impressed with the thoughtfulness of your answers, and there were really only a couple of places where you missed points. So I just wanted to go through that with you to make sure that you feel really confident on this material. So first off, when you describe your ideal weather for a vacation, I asked you to include all four weather factors, and I only saw two or three here. So you mentioned the temperature and the wind, which are two really important components, but you didn't mention humidity or precipitation, except for kind of by saying that it would be sunny. Presumably, if it's sunny, it's not going to rain, but you could have specified that a little bit more clearly, and then mentioned something about the humidity. For the table here, you mostly were on the mark. There were just two examples where you marked climate when I think of these as descriptions of weather. The first is someone saying that they went to Shanghai for 3 days and it rained the whole time. So if we're looking at 3 days and saying that it rained the whole time, that's really just a snapshot in time, even though 3 days in the rain could probably feel like a long time. So that's not describing the average, it's describing what happened in a particular instance. So that is an example of weather. And then the second one is fairly similar. Someone mentioned that they got a really bad sunburn in Texas. And although we know that the climate of Texas is pretty hot and sunny, this person's description is just based on a single incident. So again, weather. But good job on the rest of these prompts. Going down to looking into Cancun, you mentioned three factors, which was exactly what I asked for, the temperature, the humidity, and precipitation. And then, yeah, that matched up pretty well with your ideal weather. So again, you mentioned those three factors and how they compare to your ideal. So great job on that. For the quantitative description, remember that quantitative means there has to be a quantity given. There has to be some sort of numeric value. So you did an excellent job with the average temperature and the average amount of sunshine hours per day, but moderate precipitation is not really quantitative because it has to be relative to other things. It's not just a number that stands on its own. So for that, maybe you could have given how many inches it rains in the average month or over the whole year, and that would have given us a quantity for that. And then good job with the qualitative description here, right? So you took the average daily temperature and translated that into it generally is hot. You took the lots of sunshine and translated that to usually sunny, and then moderate precipitation pretty much stays the same. So good job on the qualitative description. Again, not numeric, but it gives us a sense of what the climate is like. Down in the table here, I just wanted to point out that we are using affect with an A here, and you have put effect with an E here. Effect with an E is definitely a word. It means the result of a change. But when you're using these words for a verb, you want to use affect with an A, right? So affect with an A is how something impacts or changes something else. Okay, just a minor grammar point on that. So, awesome job in this table overall. Yes, the ocean current is definitely affecting the climate in Cancun. It's right on the ocean, and it is regulating the temperature. That's an excellent way to put it. Again, the latitude, yes, has an effect. Cancun is close to the equator, you mentioned. 20 degrees is not super close to the equator, but I get your point. It makes it pretty warm year-round. The closer we are to the equator, the warmer we're going to get. I do disagree a little bit that the altitude doesn't affect the climate in your chosen city. I see what you were getting at, that Cancun is at sea level, so we don't think of that as maybe having a high altitude, certainly, but it does have an altitude. Sea level is an altitude. And being at sea level means that it's going to be warmer than somewhere with a very high altitude. So I would say that it is impacted by it being at sea level. And if it was 6,000 feet in elevation, it would be a little cooler than it is now. Finally, with the wind patterns, excuse me, you're right. So Cancun is not at one of those indicated points on the globe, 0, 30, 60, or 90 degrees, where we tend to see really strong effects from wind patterns leading to increased or reduced precipitation. So Cancun is kind of in the middle of that, so you're right, it's not going to have strong wind effects. So excellent job with that. And then for the final question here, does the city seem likely to produce your desired weather? Yes, I totally agree that it does. You mentioned one climate factor, it being close to the ocean, and I would have loved to see another way that the climate factors are going to contribute to your wonderful beach vacation. So I took 1 point off there, but pretty good work with that. Your summary was really succinct and yeah, completely accurate. So in total, you got 26 out of 33 points. I'll attach the total rubric so you can see exactly where those points came from. But that's a 79%, which is really excellent work. So there's still a few things that you can make corrections on if you want to, but overall it seems like you have a pretty good grasp of this concept. So thank you for putting in the time on this.